This is the abandoned PA Turnpike tunnels FKT number 12 that I've done. Um, this was done on uh, April 14th of 2024. I did it in 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 29 seconds. This was a unsupported FKT. Um, I'm actually going to have to read off from the write-up I did afterwards. I don't know where the video's at, and I don't have any clips to add, but I do have some pictures. I think because I didn't take any clips, um, because I was actually recording that day with my GoPro, the whole course itself. Um, so I didn't stop and take any clips or whatnot. So I'll try to add in the link to the video if you want to see the course. Um, it's a nice out and back, I guess. Not really flat, but it's not really paved either. There's a lot of potholes and stuff like that until they fix it. They're supposed to fix it. Give you a little background. They just upgraded the one parking lot or trailhead, whatever you want to call it, but it's not really where the trailhead is now. It's a little bit farther away, but and they're also supposed to pave it at some point, so repave the whole trail itself. So it's going to lose some of its nostalgia and what brought people to it. But a lot of it's just graffiti and stuff like that, and just to be able to go through the tunnels itself. Um, so get that out of the way, this is down to like Breezewood, PA, about hour 45 minutes, 2 hours away, I think, for me, give or take. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. Either way, so this is the recap. Uh, this was a really bad choice today. It was between 80 and 82 degrees, being the first day when it hit 80 this year, and having sun bake down on me literally took the life right out of me. Uh, it really cooked the asphalt as well, making it even hotter as the sun beat down on me while the asphalt radiated the heat right back up to me. I knew it was a bad choice, but I drove anyhow to attempt this FKT. I was not feeling it even before I started, and was already cooking once I stepped out of the vehicle. I was actually hot the whole entire drive. I wanted to attempt this FKT and video the trail at the same time, hoping my GoPro would not turn off from the heat, which it occasionally does. Managed to get it videoed. I only videoed one way because it's an out and back and nothing different to see on the way back. When I videotape each step of the course, so people have an exact idea with no guessing what to expect when visiting places or running race courses. I do this fairly often, if you see on the YouTube, obviously. Anyway, I took off way too fast at the Jersey barrier start. I made a Garmin Pace Pro for 220. That was my goal, which would put me at 8 minutes 15 seconds roughly, because I figured 17 miles, which is a little overestimated distance wise, but I'd rather put in a higher distance time in case I have to step off to go to the bathroom or splash water on my body from water. So I make up my pace pros with a little added time in. It also helps by allowing you to shoot for a goal time by giving more of a cushion if you need it. While my goal was 220, which was 8 minutes under the current time, I was realistically hoping to get a 215. To be under that was amazing in the heat. So as I said, I was at 211. As I took off way too fast, I had about 6 out of the first 8 miles in the 6 minute range, with one of those miles being under 6 minutes. Not sure how the hell I was able to do that. I do run quicker in the heat than the cold, but I was not trying to run that fast or had any intention of it. That is probably why I was so hot and overheated. It was just too quick for me to actually run midday in the sun and heat. Uh, did not take any fluids till mile 5 in. Tried to conserve it for the way back when I knew I was going to be lying on death's door. The first tunnel is roughly 1.5 miles in. The gate, which is point 0.2 from the start, is actually open now, so you don't have to squeeze through it. That's going to be hit or miss, depending on where you go or when you go. In between the tunnels, I baked. I was like a pizza in the oven, getting baked so bad, it just sapped my energy from my body. Um, I stayed mainly to the far left of the trail on the way out, as it wasn't so sunny. Plus, it appeared to be the smoothest place to run on the way out. Noticed a spring on the long hills heading out. and there was a drainage pipe gushing water on the other end of the tunnel as well. Uh, these are going to be used on the way back. The short tunnel came and went fast. The long tunnel was a much needed relief on the way out. Cooled me just enough to survive to the turnaround, which is at the far end of the trail. Also using the Jersey barrier as a turnaround point. So each end, there's basically a Jersey barrier that you touch, um, signaling the turnaround and start slash finish. At the turnaround, I took off my GoPro since I was done taping. And making it was making my head even hotter from um, giving off hot air. I took off my shorts as well to save some heat and put them in my pack. So I just had my 2XU compression shorts on because, like I said, it was just way too hot to have any extra layers on. And I was wearing a vest at the time, so it was definitely getting way too hot. Put my waist light away as well. I got a little bit cooler by doing these things. I also was carrying a headlamp in my vest pocket, which is what I was going to use on the way back. Did walk for about a minute at the turnaround as I stripped down and took a quick break. It's an uphill to the tunnel on the way back, so I took it a bit easy. I know I made it to the halfway point under an hour, so I had an hour and 20 minutes roughly to do the 8.4 miles on the way back. So as long as I did about 10-minute miles on the way back, I'd be able to get the FKT. That was a huge relief since I was dying. Thought I could somehow manage that at least as I started back. I know did lose some time washing off in those little creeks or springs, whatever you want to call them. Most likely taking a walk break a couple times. Um, Once I got to the entrance of the long tunnel, I took my hat off and dipped it in um, the water, washed as much of my body off as I could. Also poured a bunch of water over my head to cool my body down some. Then I started back up. Felt so good in the long tunnel because I was wet, and then the coolness of the tunnel, which is probably like 20, 30 degrees cooler inside, really kept my body cool and cooled me down. The water and the temp difference inside saved me for the next mile plus. It allowed me to creep some well enough that I wasn't on death's door for time being. At the far end of the tunnel, I actually saw some water dripping from the ceiling. I stood under to get recooled off before I popped out. It was magical. Then I popped out. I went over to the side of the hill to the spring I saw and did another quick body rinse and dumped more water over my body. This water was actually a little bit cooler, so glad I stopped again. The next couple miles in between the tunnels was once again a struggle. This time even worse than before. Now that the energy was going away and pace was slowing down, it became a lot harder. Mouth was dry and lips started to get flaky and peely from dehydration. Um, I did try to take sips of hydration I took with me, but it wasn't enough to reverse the effects. I couldn't drink too much in fear of running out. I did walk 2 or 3 times in between the tunnels, just had to with legs being tired and running out of energy. Having seen people as I headed out on the far right-hand side of the trail between the tunnels going both ways, I took that left lane on the way back, which is the opposite way I ran on the way out. It did seem to be a little overall smoother for 80% of it. Then on the way back, whatever, once it started to get a little rough, I know one of the walk breaks was right before I entered the smaller tunnel as I got my headlamp back out. Um, on the way back, the headwinds were horrible the whole time. Uh, they were bad. It was definitely costing me a good 20, 30 seconds per mile while wearing me out. Did not notice them on the way out. My back didn't feel like it was like the wind was hitting me, but maybe they were just helping me run faster. And maybe that's why I ran so fast on the way out. Who knows? But I know a storm was moving into the areas, so that's what I was thinking while the wind was picking up so badly on the way back. I did do a lot of watching on the way back, making sure I wasn't slowing too much. If I remember correctly, the 10-minute pace or under was holding up while I was still actually banking time still. With 3 miles left, I had 34 minutes to get to the end. Hoped I maintained enough to do it. I also think I had 19 minutes once I popped out of the small tunnel, which is about a mile and a half left, as I said before. Uh, that's a rough estimate, but I knew I had plenty of time unless I completely died. Was struggling a ton though. Managed to make it to the end with my 2:11:29. Shocked at not only my time, but actually making it to the end. There was a real question about it, being able to finish for most of it. Really did just want to quit, walk it in, and try another day, is how I felt. Dropped over 6 pounds of water weight, so no wonder I was feeling so bad. Did recover decently once I got changed and drank a fit aid. Obviously, I didn't have a scale with me, but when I got home, I was still 6 pounds of water weight under. So that's pretty significant um, for a 17-mile run. But again, I was baking from the heat above and below. This was a super hard FKT for me. It was not just prepared as I should have been to tackle this today. Needed way more fluids than I took. Also, with it being really the first really hot day, I need to get acclimated more before attempting to run on an open air, sunny asphalt route in the middle of the day. But that's on me. At least I got it done and survived. If anyone plans on attempting it, um, do it on a cooler day or shadier day and take more liquids with you. Um, I've ran the end of the road races on the trail and actually won the marathon half and 4 miler before. Those races are held in October when it's cooler. What's actually cold for those races for the start. And it actually starts on the other end opposite of Breezewood side. Um, and the trail for those races, they don't use the whole thing. So I had an idea of what to expect before going in, but starting on the opposite end did really feel different. Plus, no one there pushing me or having any support really did make a difference. Um, as I said, I have the video up as I headed out for this FKT because I was videotaping, so that's why I don't have any clips. But I do have a few pictures, but nothing real exciting. Uh, there's just a lot of graffiti in the tunnels, a lot of dick pics, and uh, there's even some vaginas now and like mushrooms and psychedelic stuff, and some other profanity. Tunnels are pretty cool. You can explore them a little bit. You just have to watch, and you do have to have a headlight because you can't see them inside fully. So just be cautious if you do this FKT. Um, there is going to be some potholes unless you go after they repave it. Not sure when they're going to do it. Maybe this year, next year. Um, so just as a heads up, they do have a new trailhead to use with believe it has a bathroom facility instead of just pulling off the side of the road in Breezewood that you do now, because it does get backed up and um, pose some unsafe conditions. But if you go on the far end opposite of Breezewood, there's plenty of parking. Um, shouldn't have any issues there, but there's no bathrooms or any facilities there. It's just one big cement pad, I guess is what you want to call it. Um, Other than that, I don't know. Like you see in the background here, if you, yeah, behind me, you can see some graffiti. Um, it never really gets cleaned up just because there's so much of it. So again, you're going to see a lot of dick, vagina, graffiti, some swear words and stuff like that. So if you're going to take kids or children or whatever to see, or people that really get offended by that stuff, I would not recommend it, or at least pre-warn them what they're going to see. Um, Other than that, I really don't know. Uh, as I said, my FKT was at 2 hours, 11 minutes, 29 seconds. The previous one was 2 hours, 28 minutes, and 11 seconds, 2 years earlier. Um, and GPS is going to be thrown off in the tunnels. It's probably going to give you like a 2,000 feet of gain because it's going to have you, oh, it's going to read a lot of watches. Well, a lot of watches are going to read um, you going over the mountain from like one side to the other. It's not going to give you like the straight through, straight elevation. So um, don't be thrown off by that. You really didn't say run 2,000 feet of gain. It's really only like 200 or 300 realistically. So check it out. This was a fun one because, like I said, as I won the Abandoned Turnpike Tunnel Marathon, half marathon, and 4 miler. I was the only person to ever do that and get the FKT. It was just one of those other things um, to add to it that I'm glad I got to do. So number 12 in the books.